news report, man, where this guy storms a synagogue in New York, went up there rowdy. He went in there real rowdy, disrupting their service and whatnot. He had to be physically removed. And he was in there real rambunctious. He was a, kind of a, not muscular big guy, but he was a looked like he had some weight on him. You know what I'm saying? He looked like he was, clearly 200 and some pounds. I'm talking about, looked like he was about 230, 240. So he was in there, man, in there making noise, and I don't know what he said. They not saying what he said, but he was highly upset about something. And they was all in there in their service, and I know they probably thought it was about to go down. You know what I'm saying? All this shooting, usually when something like that happens, some shit go down. And so I know that was very, it was an on edge situation. And so yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, that was an on edge situation right there. I seen the video, and they say he even struck a 63 year, I think they said 63-year old, a 63-year old woman. Yeah, I think they said he struck a 63-year-old woman, and this was a big guy. So and so they charged his ass with a hate crime. He got assault and he got a hate crime. That mean they're gonna try to sit his ass down for a minute. Cause them hate crimes, they ain't playing about them hate crimes. You get charged with a guy, you get charged with a hate crime, you gonna sit down. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if they letting you get away with, you might have to do all that. I don't even know if they let you get off for good behavior for a hate crime. So he struck a 63-year-old woman. You got to see the video because he was up in there. I could see I think an off-duty police officer had to get him. I think he was up in there. So I think that's who escorted him out of there. But and he head butted a security guard. Yeah, they said he did. So yeah, so he done went up in there whooping ass. He done struck two people. He done struck two people. So he got assault with a hate crime. Black Power families. He got assault with a hate crime. And so, that guy that's they married, Mandami, whatever his name is, uh, he was talking about locking up Netanyahu and all that. I'm just telling y'all, because you got to walk a very, you know, you have to watch the line on a news report like this. You feel what I'm saying? You have to watch how you report, a topic like this, because they feel, that you bias and shit. So, but he was talking about arresting Netanyahu, and so they feel like, and Donald Trump went in on the mayor, say he don't like Jews, he don't like Israel and all that. And I guess he's made some comments about Palestine, what Netanyahu doing over in Palestine. And so, under that atmosphere, people gonna feel emboldened. If they feel a certain kind of way, yeah, I think, okay, I don't know if what's going on over there in, oh, I ain't even got my date on. What's going on over there in Israel right now, where some of them Israelis they done surrounded some Palestinian homes over there. You feel what I'm saying? And terrorizing their ass right now. Like, won't let them come out the house. I seen it on the news. I might try to do that, but I seen it where what's crazy, the military acting like they can't get them Israelis from, they vigilantes. They ain't like no military, they vigilantes. And see, that's the thing. People see that and they like, oh, y'all being fake as fuck, because if it had been some Palestinians surrounding an Israeli house, y'all would have been to shot their ass down. But the fact that these Israelis is over there and they terrorizing, and y'all mean to tell me y'all ain't? And I seen the political establishment, United States, what's his name? The ambassador to Israel, what was his name? Is Huckabee or something? He called them terrorists. So they is, saying something about it. But where is Netanyahu when, But that show you, they got, yeah. Yeah. They don't fucking, they don't have the common respect for nobody but themselves. They don't have no common respect. So I don't know what drove this man to go up in the during a congregation like that. Why they having service? To go in there and act. He act a fool. He act a fool. They was singing songs and shit, and he bust up in there, and like I said, he fired on a 63-year-old woman, and he head butted the security and whatever, and so they saying it's a hate crime, but he must have said some shit when he was up in there, and they not saying what he said. Because it had to been some racial for them to say it was a hate crime. You know what I'm saying? Because he could just be a crazy motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, family. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, he could just be a crazy motherfucker, and just bust up in there. But he obviously said some things that why he must have said some anti-Jewish stuff, in which that probably put the hate crime on top of it. That's was why they charging it. Like I said, and I noticed that there was something going on over there where some Israeli settlers was, and what they trying to do is scare them out of there so they could take over the land. And so yeah, they doing some dumb shit too over there. I'm not talking about in the synagogue. I'm talking about over in Israel. And so that's why shit need to be dealt with when you see people being terrorized, regardless whoever it is. You supposed to handle that. But when people see that you don't handle the situation when you should, then people become, who already probably got ideas in their head and shit, they become emboldened to to do crazy stuff. Just like them, Muslims and shit want to blow themselves up or do something like that, and which is, I mean, that's the world we living in. Yeah, I ain't trying to get into the, I ain't, but I think, people should, yeah, I think people, I'm not gonna get off into religion because I'm from the Nile Valley, I'm not getting, I think people should be able to practice whatever they want to practice. If that's what you believe in, that's what you believe in. You know what I'm saying? Shit, because people gonna do it anyway, so ain't no sense of, Let people believe what they want to believe. That's on them to choose what they believe in. But anyway, family, that was a real crazy situation. I want to know what he said. I really do. I want to know what he said, and they probably gonna come out and say sooner or later what he said, because whatever it was is probably the reason why they charging his ass with a hate crime. So stay tuned, family. Stay safe out there, because it's a crazy fucking world right now. Stay safe. Stay vigilant. You feel what I'm saying? And keep your eyes open. You feel me? Black Power.